In the previous class, we have discussed lesson number 7, safety and first aid. Before we further proceed to the present class, let us recall the previous class concepts. We have explained the first aid is the first help given to an injured person before the first aid arrives, before any medical aid arrives. So, we have defined what are meant by accidents and how they cause. Accidents are caused without our notice. Unexpectedly, whatever the things are happening, those are called accidents. And accidents are often caused by our carelessness or ignorance. We have seen different scenes and places where there are chances of happen the accidents. In this figure, we have seen already the boy is trimming his hair with a hair dryer. There is a chance of getting electric shock. And the water is leaking in the bucket. There is a chance of wetting the floors and it becomes slippery. So we will fall down. In the second figure, the boy is nailing the wall with a hammer. If the hammer falls on the hand, we will get hurt. At the same time, he is using the sharp things like saw, plier, screwdriver, etc. There is a chance of getting cuts. If you are working in the absence of the parents, you will have to face the problem. And in the third case, the girl is sharing the information to the strangers through the telephone. One should not give the personal details to the strangers. So accidents may happen inside the house or outside the house or in the school or on the roads. But we remember children, precautions if you take we can avoid the accidents. So accidents can be avoided or prevented by taking the suitable precautions. Now let us recall some of the safety rules we have to follow at home to avoid the accidents. We have discussed that we must be careful in handling the electrical appliances. We should handle the sharp tools carefully and keep all your belongings at your respective places. Avoid self-medication and we should walk carefully on slippery floors. We will recall once again. One has to be very much careful in handling the electrical appliances and has to handle the sharp tools carefully. We should keep our all belongings at their respective places. One has to avoid the self-medication and we must walk very carefully on slippery floors. Then in the second case we have seen when a visitor arrives, do not allow the visitors without your parents' notice. If the parents are there, inform them so and so has come, shall I allow him or not? If you know the person, then you can allow the persons. Do not open the door at once. We have to peep through the peephole. If the persons are your known people are there, that is your neighboring aunties or uncles or relatives are there, then you can open the door. And some service providers like cable operators, electricians, telephone repairing, network providers, etc. They may come and call you. If you open the door, they will enter into the house and they will rob you. So we should not allow the strangers into the house. And we should not attend the phone calls from unknown numbers. These are the precautions we have to take when a new visitor come to our house. Then we will proceed to the today's class. Today's class we will see how the fire accidents may happen and how we can avoid them. So in case of a fire accident, you know children very well, fire is nothing but burning of gases. When these gases are burnt, heat energy is released. That heat energy causes severe burns. This is called fire accidents. Fire accidents may cause property loss and at times loss of lives also. So, if properly used, fire serves like a servant to you. Fire is our friend when it helps us to cook the food and keeps us warm during the winter. If you are careless with fire, your carelessness may turn the fire into your enemy. So, never play with the matchsticks or lighters or handle any petrol or other liquids that are flammable. What are meant by flammable liquids? These flammable liquids are those which catch fire easily. Why they can catch the fire easily? Because their ignition temperature is very low. Ignition temperature is nothing but the minimum temperature at which an object can catch the fire. I repeat once again, ignition temperature means the minimum temperature at which the objects may catch the fire. So, we have to be very much careful with the flammable objects. So, the examples of flammable gases are petrol, diesel, kerosene, etc. And the second thing we have to follow, we should also always wear cotton cloths while working in the kitchen or when we are burning the crackers during the celebrations and all, or Diwali or any functions are there, the people try to enjoy by bursting the crackers. So while bursting the crackers or burning the crackers during the celebrations, one has to wear the loose cotton cloths. Why? Because synthetic cloths catch fire very easily, and when they are burnt, they stick to the body. That is the very dangerous problem. The synthetic cloths will stick to the body, and it becomes very difficult to remove them. Along with the cloth, the skin also will come up. So one should not wear the synthetic cloths during the burning of crackers or during the cooking in the kitchen. It is preferable to wear the cotton cloths. Why? Because cotton cloths do not catch fire as easily as the synthetic ones, and they do not stick to the skin. So these are the precautions we have to take to avoid the fire accidents. Never play with the matches and lighters or handle any inflammables. Wear cotton cloths while working in kitchen or bursting crackers on any celebrations. Do not wear the synthetic cloths. Do not light a matchstick when there is a gas leak. In case of any fire accident in the house, the first thing you have to do, we should not switch on the lights, because of that heat or fire, when you are burning a matchstick, in case of a gas leak, that leaked gas will catch the fire very easily and it starts burning everything in the kitchen or in the house. So do not light any matchsticks during the gas leakages. Inform the ambulance people immediately. Don't get panic. Use your common sense. Try to handle the emergency cases with care. The first thing, second thing you have to do, open all the windows and doors so that the leaked gas will spread out. The density of the gas can be reduced and the intensity of burns also can be reduced. So in case these are the different cases where we have seen the possibility of happen the accidents. First aid we have to do. First aid already we have discussed. The first help given to the injured person or the person who made the accident before the doctor arrives or any medical treatment is given to him. The first aid, two important profits are there. Profits means advantages are there. One is we can minimize the damage. We can minimize the damage and we can prevent the further damage. We can prevent the further damage. So this first aid is nothing but it is the help given immediately to an injured person or sick person to save his life and prevent more damage. During the accidents, three things very important we have to keep in our mind. First of all, one has to be very calm. Calm means he should not get panic, and the victim also get panic because of his panic. He has to be calm and comfort the victim. With one has to use the common sense and have the basic training. Basic training means what help they can render to the victims. That will be given as a basic training. That basic training one has to take so that they can handle the emergency cases effectively. So do not light a matchstick when there is a gas leak. In case the gas is leaking, it will catch the fire. Actually, what is the gas we are using in our cylinders? It is the CNG. CNG means compressed natural gas. The full form of CNG is compressed natural gas, and we are using this gas in the kitchen. This is made up of butane. It is an organic compound. Actually, this natural gas has no smell. So, when it is leaking, nobody can observe. So, to detect the leakage of gases, a small leak would be impossible to detect. Hissing sound is not always present either. If the gas is leaking, some hissing sound will come, but it is very feeble. One cannot listen. So neither the smell we can see nor the sound we can listen. Then very silently the gas is spreading. So to avoid that, what they are doing, the utility company adds mercaptan. The name of the chemical is ethyl mercaptan. They will add this mercaptan to the CNG gas. This gas is harmless. It is a chemical, even though it is harmless. When this chemical is added to the gas, that ethyl mercaptan smells like sulfur. Sulfur is a pungent odor is there, and it is having a smell of rotten eggs. When the eggs are rotten, what the smell we will get? The same smell this ethyl mercaptan will give. Then the nearby or around people can identify some gas is leaking. They will identify the leakage of gas by smelling, and it helps to identify the gas leaks. So children, what is the gas we are using? Compressed natural gas. It is a butane. This butane has no smell. So it is very difficult to identify the leakage of the gases. To identify why, because the gas is leaking, to identify that, the company people they are mixing ethyl mercaptan. The name of the chemical is ethyl mercaptan. Even though it is a chemical, it is harmless. This methyl mercaptan is having a smell of rotten eggs. By smelling that rotten eggs smell, one can identify that the gas is leaking. Immediately we have to go and switch off the regulator. And the very important thing is, do not light any matchstick or switch on the electric lights. So first aid already we have defined. First aid is the help given immediately to an injured or sick person to save his life and to prevent more damage. The one advantage of first aid is we can save the life. Second advantage is we can prevent the damage further. We can minimize the damage. So it is the first aid is the series of medical steps that anyone can follow with a basic learning. Usually our nurses are there in the hospital. They will be trained in the first aid. So while giving the first aid, I told you 3 things we have to follow. One should be calm, should one use common sense, and must have a basic training to handle the emergencies. The person who is giving the first aid should not get confused and become panic. And he should make the victim feel comfortable. You don't worry, I am there for you. Nothing will happen. You comfort them and give the basic training. And then coming to the fractures. What is meant by a fracture? A crack in a bone is called fracture. A crack in a bone is called fracture. How do you identify there is a fracture in your bone? The 5 important symptoms are there. First one is the fractured limb cannot bear weight. If your hand is broken, you cannot weigh anything, even a small weight also you cannot weigh, you cannot handle that. Your hand will pain a lot. So the fractured limb cannot bear weight. Second, the victim cannot move the fractured part. If he moves, unbearable pain will come. Because of that, he cannot move the fractured part. Neither it can weigh any weight, or the victim cannot move the fractured part. The very important symptom is the fractured part starts turning cold. It becomes cool. When you touch the fractured part, you feel it is cool, and it also becomes blue. It is cold, blue, and bruised and bleeding. If the cut is from outside, the skin is cut, then the blood will come out. If the injury happens to the bone, no blood will come out. Only they can feel the pain. It turns cold and it turns blue. And the face, if you observe the face of the victim turns pale and he becomes sweaty. The sweat will roll down. And the last one is the victim has unbearable pain. These are the symptoms. What are the indications that a person has fractures? First one is the fractured limb cannot bear weight. The victim cannot move the fractured part. The fractured part starts turn cold and blue. The victim turns pale and sweaty, and the victim has unbearable pain. These are the symptoms. If any fractured bones are there, do not try to replace the bone. Immediately go to the doctor. So when a leg is broken or hand is broken, first keep some ice pack on the affected area. Make a splint. Splint you can see in the figure, children. That splint is made up of wooden pieces or a blanket rolled, and it is tightly tied with the cloth. Make a splint with a rolled up newspaper or a wooden sticks or rolled up blanket, or a wet towel also you can take. Splint is nothing but it supports the broken limb, keep it in place and prevent it from moving. The broken part should not move, otherwise both the bones will not join. So splint we have to use. The use of the splint is it supports the broken limb, keep it in the place and prevent it from moving. So tie the splint with the strips of cloth just above and below the fractured joint or area. Tie the legs loosely. You can observe the boy. Both the legs are put together and tied with the padding. Padding is there in between the two legs. What is the help of this padding? It prevents the broken one from getting more damaged. And then so these are some of the important things we have to remember. We will see in the next class what are the first aids we can give in different cases. Thank you, children. Read the textbook once. Listen the videos 2 or 3 number of times so that you can have a good concept. Make a habit of reading the textbook. Thank you.